First Watch Now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
So let's start off with, we were just trying to figure out if yesterday was Superhero Day or today was Superhero Day.
It's today.
It's today?
Yes.
Well, one of your favorite superheroes is teachers.
It is. And people always think it's firefighters. No offense to every firefighter that's listening to this show. Sorry, guys. You're second, all right? But it truly is educators. It truly is. Think about that in a community. You got educators that go out there and they help form our communities, our future, and our youth. That's pretty impressive stuff.
And speaking about teachers and how awesome they are, we had a Teacher of the Year, Ana Ballesteros, and she was recently nominated and honored for that.
And she's a teacher over at Douglas Unified School District. I think she works in the elementary section of it. But congratulations, Ana, for that award and all the nominees. And hopefully you tuned into that. I know Cool FM and a bunch of other ones did some stories. The Herald had a story on it. So, again, congratulations to all our educators on that. And Jackie Clay, once again, you shine through bringing this together, you and your team. So thank you, Jackie, our school superintendent.
Well, let's start with some past trips that you just did, and we're going to cover a lot in this one, but we're going to start with your Texas trip.
Had the opportunity last week to go to Texas, McAllen, Texas, and nice exposure. We had roundtables. Chief Ortiz, the chief from Border Patrol, met us there, a handful of his sheriffs, and his team. Governor Abbott came in. We sat down with Governor Abbott, spent some time with him on some of the issues. Big talk about was Title 42, and I'll talk about that in a minute. We actually went out on the river with the state, the Department of Public Safety out there, and the Texas game wardens went out there. It was really interesting to see what they're challenged with compared to what we do on landmass when it comes to the folks coming across. But there's rafts and flotation devices everywhere from the folks trying to come across the river. And I give credit to those law enforcement professionals and those sheriffs in Texas that are out there, just like we are in Arizona, New Mexico, California, and beyond, that are addressing these issues. But it was a good trip. But I tell you, the challenges are like we have here. Texas is seeing it too.
And so you also had a trip right after that, which was unique, going to Pennsylvania. And unique is, I guess, a good word for that. So who did you meet with?
I met with the Pennsylvania coroners. Medical examiners. They have elected coroners in Pennsylvania. So at their annual conference, I was their keynote speaker to address that. And I know that sounds unique. A rural sheriff from Cochise County to go speak to death doctors, I call them. And but what was really unique is where I stayed. They said, Sheriff, we're going to go ahead. They took care of all the expenses, so anybody don't jump up. All the expenses were taken care of by these folks, these doctors. And they did. The hospitality was awesome. But they had me stay in what they called a cancer center. These are doctors in a cancer research center, but it's an old high school. And I stayed up in one of the apartments, and I was talking to the doctors at the dinner that first night. And I asked them, I said, so you guys have a county morgue, or where do you take those that have passed? And they said, well, we take them to that cancer center, Sheriff. I go, what cancer center? The one you're staying on. Now, remember, this is a 1900 old school that's been shut down. The only thing missing are the children right up and down the halls. So where I was staying was right above the county morgue. And those that know me well and those that maybe don't, death and I, we just don't. I mean, I'm feared of my own death, let alone, somebody else's. But I'm just kidding, people. But the bottom line is it was like a haunted school. I'm just going to say that. So I didn't travel the halls at that night, the first night I stayed there.
You did not answer bumps in the night?
No, or any shakes and rattles. No, I did not.
Did you check under your bed?
No, I was afraid to.
Okay, gotcha.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, let's talk about some border stats. Since you went to Texas, you also came up with some new stats that you wanted to give to the folks.
Right. These are Department of Homeland Security stats. These aren't your local sheriff stats, your High Patrol folks, or your cities. These are directly DHS stats at the roundtable. And these go from October 1st of 2022 till April 18th of 23 to date. And these are the federal fiscal stats. So here's the first thing that I think we need to realize is since 2012, these are the lowest numbers Border Patrol agents have had. They have less than 19,000 agents. And they were talking about that. That's a significant challenge for them right now is keeping agents. Agents are leaving. And it was a big discussion. And one thing you hear is we don't have enough agents. Well, now they're getting down to record numbers and low. So far, in the 4 or 5 month period there, they've had 1.1 million encounters. 465,000 gotaways, and 158 countries have breached our southwest border since October of 2022, the federal fiscal year. CBP and drugs, 1,526 pounds of fentanyl. Now, if you put that into perspective, one pill kills, or you can break it down to even more. 0.005 milligrams is actually a lethal dose. That's scary stuff. That's truly, and that's just what they've seized, not what the locals in state. 7,000 pounds of meth, and behind all this trafficking, all this smuggling by the criminal cartels, these transnational organizations, comes $5 million worth of currency has been seized. Now, these are just touching the tip of the iceberg, and we all know that. They're dealing with 5,000 encounters a day, Border Patrol. They're really concerned about that. The maximum or manageable allocation per day is about 3,500. So you can see where they're at right now. And they're concerned what happens when Title 42 goes away, which is slated to go away on May 11th here in a few weeks.
So let's talk about what the consequences of Title 42 going away are.
Well, a lot of unknowns. I'll just say I asked one of the Border Patrol leaders this week. National sheriffs, we've had some meetings on this. One of the things we got from the D.C. side, I have not been briefed by Border Patrol. I mean, or DHS on this. I know there's some stuff coming up. I signed up for one later today. Hopefully we can get some more information because we got to work collectively on this. I don't care anything you do in your cities, your states. We have a military reservation here with Fort Huachuca. We all have to work together. The day we split those relationships, the day we're in trouble. But I looked at a stat sheet projected out. This came out of Department of Homeland Security. Post Title 42 going away on May 11th until June, they expect 280,000 to 300,000 surge in a little over a month and a half. What I'm putting out today is what came out of DHS. The 5 top regions that they expect. El Paso is number one with 77,000 extra to what they're already dealing with. Tucson sector, which includes Cochise County, has anticipated 61,000. When I read that, that's the second highest on the southwest border. I'm a little shocked on that because we deal with more fight and flight, and the gotaways, we don't deal with give-ups. So this is unique to us, which provides a lot of unknowns and a lot of unrest. So we're going to be working on this. You got my commitment, everybody listen. You got my commitment. We're going to continue to work on this, get these answers, but I promise you we'll have all our resources, though limited, but all our resources and some kind of operational plan prepared for this.
And remind everybody exactly what Title 42 is.
Title 42 is a provision by the federal government where when you have a health pandemic, it restricts transition into our country to protect the country and our citizens. It's been in effect, I believe it went in 2021, maybe latter part, 2021, and it's been very controversial. But it's become a huge border security management tool. I agree. If we don't have a pandemic, we shouldn't have Title 42. But what we should have is a well-thought-out collective plan, state, local, and federal, to address the current issue. Because Title 42, when it goes away, we'll go back to a Title 8, which is pretty much their enforcement rules for Border Patrol and CBP. So, again, I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't think Border Patrol at the local level. We feel comfortable. We have a good handle on it. But seeing that number, that projection out of DHS, brings some pretty big concern.
And some of the things, in addition to that you were working on this week, on a lighter note, was board promotion ceremony. And so you had a lot of people that were happy yesterday. You have a couple of new captains. So tell us a little bit about that.
We had 2 captains. I think we talked a couple weeks ago. Tim Williams and John Jurdy, both sergeants moved into the ranks. Tim is, a lot of people recognize, the fact is, Tim has ran our border team, camera system, our virtual system, not just here, but the state of Arizona, moved into New Mexico. So he's done a lot of amazing work. So he's going to move into our new border operations center, which is located on the west end of town. John Jurdy, who's moving from major crimes, he runs our major crimes unit, into captain. He'll be doing the grant. Randy Wilson is our current captain in that position. After 22 years, he's going to retire. We wish him well. Thank you, Randy, for all your time, all your tenureship here, and your leadership. So he'll be moving on. Then we had some sergeant's promotions, corporal promotions. We recognized our quarterly employees. Carol, congratulations. You were our employee of the quarter for the first quarter of the year. Then we had our awards for annual, for our deputy of the year, detention officer of the year, volunteer of the year. and support staff of the year. So, and then we did some life-saving awards and some other stuff yesterday. So thank you to all our folks, our recipients of that, but also to the family members that we can't do without the family.
That's right. And then you also have a busy weekend coming up. So, we do collectively want to make sure everybody knows the West Fest is coming this weekend, and it's going to prompt road closures. So you have to be so careful. Pay attention once you hit North and Fry Boulevard, and then it goes all the way down to Garden. So just be careful in that area and take a look around. That's a new thing. We're going to have Adam Curtis in a little bit to talk about what's going on there.
And the biggest change, and I'm sure Adam will hit on this too, is it starts at 3. Normally it starts in the morning around 10. This year it starts 3 to 8. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I just heard that yesterday.
Yeah, that's correct. And then they're going to be having bands, and we're going to be out there with some of our equipment. Grady's going to be smiling and shaking hands. So woohoo, here we go. And then also you have a Village Meadows prayer breakfast coming up on May 4th.
Yeah, it's all ministry comes together, and it's a morning prayer breakfast. That's May 4th. They're going to be doing that over at the Baptist Church on El Camino Real, which is all the way to the end of it on the left, behind the big ranch over there. So Pastor Simpson sent me an invite on that, so I will be over there embracing our religious leaders here in Cochise County. I'll tell you, unsung heroes in many ways too. So I always like to support that and all the good they do, both within our jail and for our community.
We're getting a lot of information out about the jail district now, and we want to make sure everybody goes to the Cochise County Sheriff's Office Facebook page so they can find out more information. There's videos, but also there's a meeting tonight in Douglas.
There's another meeting tonight. Douglas reached back out and said, hey, can we have another meeting down here? So that's going on tonight. So my jail commander, County Administrator Rich Karwashka, will be down there just going over the facts. You know, if we stick to the facts and we stick to the targeted end game, and that is we need a new jail. Nobody argues we need a new jail. What is being, I called it fuzzy, getting blurred out there is the fact that, well, this is election integrity. Election integrity, this is within the state law. If you don't like election integrity, and I respect this, all you have to do is get with your state senators, your state house folks, and let's get that changed. Let's make it better. I respect that. I 100% do. But don't hold us hostage for something that is a quality of life issue, an officer safety issue for the men and women that work in there and for the inmates. And let's not forget mental health and medical. Those are the 3 top priorities. Our jail was 40 years old. It's in bad shape. We all know that. I also say this. For $67 a year per citizen, and it actually equates to a little less than that, probably around $40, $50, because that does not include tourists and those that are traveling through the county and stopping. Around $40, $50, max $67 a year per citizen. If this doesn't pass, what are the consequences? 9 out of 15 sheriffs have jail districts. If it does not pass, I have done my due diligence to bring it to the people. This is the jail. This is a problem jail. It's old. It needs replaced. At that point, I'm going to switch this back to the Board of Supervisors and say, I am the tenant. They are the landlord. I have a statutory authority to run a jail. That's within my lane. They have the responsibility for the business side of it, and that is to provide the facility. So at this point, I would shift gears back to them and say, here you go. Y'all take care of this now. But I'll put that on notice. So I've done my part, and hopefully the people can support that because this is a quality of life issue. Think about this. If I don't have a jail or it's there's an oversight on it, judicial oversight, which it's in bad shape, what happens is going to be a very costly venture where we go next. The next chapter of this will not be good. So, again, it's up to the people. I'll respect whatever the outcome of this is, but understand, I don't see it getting better if it doesn't pass.
And, again, that's going to be tonight that you're going to have that in Douglas, so take a look at that. Also tonight, you're going to be at the Chamber Gala tonight in Sierra Vista. So what is that all about?
Well, they're having their award ceremony tonight. God, my tongue's going with yours, girl. Ceremony tonight where they're going to recognize the businesses of the year. We're a nomination for Large Business of the Year. So it's exciting. And people are like, well, you're government. You can't. Folks, we're a business. We're providing a product. It's called public safety. But with that comes the glue, the price tag to that is called trust. And that's, I mean, when you look at, in the last 11 years, the team and I brought in over $100 million to offset cost, operational cost. Nobody likes to talk about that, but offset cost. In fact, there's some articles in the Service to Herald this morning about the jail, about, we got a new helicopter and we're absorbing those costs. No, we're not. Zero cost on our helicopter. In fact, we got another one that the state just purchased for us for $9 million, 100% inclusive. There is no cost to the county. But these kind of comments always throw me because those aren't factual comments. Those are opinions. But the bottom line is we've done so much to offset taxpayers having to use. The only thing I've asked for in a budget, and that's coming up, I know we're going to talk about that, is take care of the men and women, what I call my talent. So it's tough times for law enforcement, just like it is for education and many other professions, but especially law enforcement. We have to retain and we have to recruit, and we do that by recognizing and rewarding them, and part of that is a competitive salary package. So that's the only thing we're asking for again this year.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the budget. It has begun.
It has, and what we're looking for there is a competitive market. The Board of Supervisors and I have agreed, two different offices, co-equal forms of government, coming together, but to retain not just Sheriff's Office employees, team members I call them, but also all county staff. If we don't keep competitive salaries, they go other places. And then all we are is a stepping stone, which is very costly, and it's also litigation highlighted when you bring people in and then a year later, because they don't have the institutional knowledge or the experience or the loyalty and passion to serve this community. I think it's important that we retain that talent. So that's really what we're asking for. We have some operational costs, very small, because most of them have been offset through grants and even donations. So wait and see. We'll see what happens. I think we gave a very good presentation, the team and I, and now we sit back and wait and see what happens.
And so you wanted to bring up a sad situation, and tomorrows are never guaranteed. So you have to make the most of whatever you have today. Jerry Reagan passed, and he was a staple for our communities here in Cochise County.
We give shout-outs, and sadly more often than not, when it comes to our community icons that have served our community so well. And Jerry Reagan, he's a Rotarian, involved in many, many community events. I mean, he was at one of our jail district outreach meetings. In fact, I talked to him that night, spoke to him. He's just been a huge supporter. His daughter works for the FBI. I mean, just great family, great guy, done so much. Well, he had just passed away. A few days later, I heard he passed away, and like I said, I just saw him. So you don't know what tomorrow brings, but I'll share this with you. Jerry, to you and your family, God, rest in peace, my friend, but also, excuse me, hug your loved ones. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
That's right. And so moving towards your stop of the week, tell us a little bit about that.
Ironically, we had KGUN 9 News out of Tucson riding with us. And Grady was in the car as our PIO. They're doing a border story. So Monday, take a look, folks, Monday on KGUN, ABC News. They're doing it's like an annual thing they do. It's like, where's our border? So we were part of that segment that you'll see Monday. I'm not sure of the time zone. But long story short is we went out there, very busy. This was just a couple of days ago. They had bailouts. They had 2 pursuits right before this. I mean, everywhere we turned, there was some kind of border-related issue going on. Sad to say that, but real. I spun on a car for speeding coming out of Palominas. Turned the lights on behind it, no stop. Turned the siren on, and the vehicle kept going. And the reporter sitting in the front seat with me, she goes, "Sheriff, what's going on?" I said, "This is what they call a pursuit." Put your seatbelt on, please. But long story short, we got the vehicle stopped, and the individual told me, "Yeah, I just didn't see you. Did not see you." Folks, we got to pay attention when we're driving. Now, he was charged accordingly. I mean, obviously, if we're going to chase you with sirens or lights, there will be a pretty severe consequence to that. And so, bottom line is, be careful out there. And part of that safety message, Grady, is the fact that we have prom. Boynton High School's proms this weekend, and now that's out at Stan Greer's on South 92. My team members will be out there. We're providing security for that, Sheriff's Assist team. Please be safe when you're going south on 92. You're going to have high school kids out there enjoying their big night, paying attention to their dates more probably than driving. I'm not saying that in an evil way, but a real way. But also just slow down. If you see the lights, slow down, because they're going to have traffic control out there. It's going to be a lot of kids. I mean, you look at 300 kids going to prom. So, again, just slow down for us. Be careful. A lot going on this weekend. West End Fair, prom. I mean, just a whole bunch of stuff going on. Big events tonight, and again, just slow down and be careful.
Well, Sheriff Mark Daniels, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you, Grady. Thank you, Carol. And thank you to everybody. And a big shout out to General Hale. He's coming right up behind me here. Thank you, General Hale, for all you do.
First Watch on KWCD Country. It's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much, Major General Hale, for being here with us today.
Carol, it's great to be here, and I can't believe it's taken me about 2.5 years to get here.
Well, welcome. We appreciate you coming.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about what's going on up there. We can start with maybe Team Huachuca strategic plan.
Wow, so we're really excited. So this coming Monday at 10 o'clock at the roundabout on the installation at the Buffalo Soldier statue, we are going to sign the Team Huachuca strategic plan. And this started about 7 months ago, back in October, November, when we had a group come together. All the tenants on the installation, as well as the city, the county, and state personnel came together. And what I tasked my team to do is develop a plan to propel Fort Huachuca into the Army of 2030 to make sure that we remain relevant for not only the Army but for the Department of Defense. And we have a great capability here in southern Arizona in the electromagnetic space and with our restricted and delegated airspace where you can do things here that you can't do anywhere else in the continental United States. So over the last 7 months, our team has come together. We've had multiple working groups. We had my partner on the installation, Major General Chris Eubanks, involved and his team. We had the city, Mayor McCaw and his team engaged, as well as the county planners. We also had personnel from all the academic institutions in southern Arizona, as well as Tucson with the University of Arizona, and up in Phoenix with the Arizona State University. They came together. We came up with a plan of how do we push Fort Huachuca into the future. What's going to keep us relevant? How are we going to be that shining installation for the Army and for DOD? So in the last 7 months, we've come up with 4 lines of effort to improve ourselves on the installation. The first line of effort is growth and modernization. So how do we modernize our installation to support testing and training events that the Army and that DOD needs? We also looked at line of effort number 2, which is the infrastructure on the installation. What type of infrastructure do we need to update? Think about fiber and electricity and water and sewer and roads, all those infrastructure things that we need to improve to make sure that we're that installation that can continue to support the Army and DOD. Line of effort 3, probably not a surprise, quality of life. How do we support our families on the installation? How do we support our soldiers? How do we support our civilians that work on the installation, as well as our contractors? So what quality of life things that can we do to increase a family looking at Fort Huachuca and saying, that's an installation I want to serve at? So we're doing a lot of things, for example, with the city and the Canyon Vista Medical Center, and Sean Phillips, the CEO there, that partnership and kind of improving some of our health care on the installation. We're also looking at bringing in maybe some additional food vendors on the installation where we can actually have a place to sit down and have somewhere to eat on the installation other than the PX food court, because we don't have a restaurant on the installation where soldiers who don't have vehicles can walk to sit down and have a meal on the weekend. And then line of effort number 4 is talent management. How do we get the people that we need, their expertise? You know, think about engineers. Think about those technical people that work at Network Command, NetCom. Think about those technical people that work at the Electronic Proving Grounds. How do we get those engineers, those technicians here in southern Arizona? How do we keep them here? What do we need to do for talent management so that we have the right people working on the installation to support our mission? And you know, I say it like this. If a new person looking for a job, and we really target young people graduating from college, okay, because they're coming into the workforce, or anybody for that matter, If they are making $100,000 in southern Arizona and they're making $160,000 in New York City, I guarantee you at the end of the month, you'll have more in your bank account if you were in southern Arizona than if you were in New York City. So what do we do to attract those people? So the Team Huachuca strategic plan really looks out to where we want the installation to be in 2030. Now, I know that's 7 years away, but we've got near-term wins, we've got mid-term wins, and then we've got some longer-term projects that we know that we'll have to maybe change some policy or maybe update some regulation, especially as we talk about the electromagnetic spectrum, because that involves the FAA and the FCC. So we know we got some things to work on. But I would tell you that we have a great partner in our elected officials here in southern Arizona and in Arizona. Congressman Ciscomani has been down multiple times already since his installation into office there in the House, and then also Senator Kelly, big proponent of what we're doing with his military background here in southern Arizona. So we've got some great elected leaders that are supporting us, and I tell you, we're going to sign this thing on Monday at 10 o'clock, so if you want to see the mayor, General Eubanks, and I in front of the Buffalo Soldier statue, it's going to be a great photo. We're going to sign our strategic plan, and we'll be off on the races.
What are your priorities and objectives for Fort Huachuca?
Well, Grady, that's a great question, and so I got here on August the 11th of 2020, so about 34 months ago, and my boss at the time, General Rainey, said, Tony, I want you to do an assessment. I need you to do it in 45 days of your installation and send me that assessment. So I went off on a fact-finding campaign. So as I got information from across the installation, I came up with only one priority, Grady, and that's people. People are our most precious asset. You know, in the Army, we are in a people business. We can have all the technology and all the wazoo weapon systems, but it's people who are going to put boots on the ground to close with and destroy the enemy. So people is our business. So I have that one priority. I do have three objectives. My first objective is to build leaders. On Fort Huachuca, we train from private E1 all the way to Colonel 06 as an officer for our intel warfighting function, for our military intelligence corps, and every rank in between every year. We have between 12 and 15,000 students transit in and out of the Fort Huachuca gates on an annual basis. So building those leaders for our intel corps. My second objective is to drive change, and we do that in three ways. We drive change in our training. How do we modernize our training in support of large-scale combat operations in the multi-domain environment? We also drive change through updating our doctrine. You know, we have been in the COIN, counterinsurgency, and the counterterrorism fight for 2 decades. We've come out of that now. We're in large-scale combat operations. So we need to update our doctrine so that, you know, those soldiers from private to colonel know how to execute their mission. We also drive change in modernization. So we are modernizing the Intel Corps' equipment right now to collect against our peer adversaries, read China and Russia, and that's the biggest modernization that we've done in our Intel Corps in the last 40 years that we're in the midst of right now. Our portfolio budget for the Intel and EW portfolio is over $6 billion across a 5-year period. So we've got to make sure we've got that right equipment out there to support our soldiers. And then my third objective is to inform. I need to get the information, part of being here today, of course, and I've been doing it for 34 months, get the information from what I call the boardroom, which is me, and the USACO, you know, headquarters at Fort Huachuca, all the way down to that lowest private. How do I inform? So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. You can follow me, you can check me out. I do multiple engagements every week with groups of people just to tell them what we're doing, because a lot of folks, especially outside the gate, don't know what we do inside the gate. And if we don't support each other, and that's the Team Huachuca plan, supporting both inside and outside the gate, we're a community down here, and we have to rely on each other to make things happen. So informing.
That's, communication is key, and I think that's so important. And specifically, I think that's what Fort Huachuca is known for, is communication. So good job. And so you also have First Lieutenant John Fox. Tell us a little bit about what he's doing.
So, the First Lieutenant John R. Fox Multi-Domain Non-Kinetic Range. So First Lieutenant John R. Fox was a Buffalo soldier in the 92nd Division. Fort Huachuca, if you didn't know, is the only installation that housed, trained, and deployed all 4 recognized units for the Buffalo Soldiers. And the Buffalo Soldiers were our all African American units back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. So from 1892 to 1945, we had the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiments and the 92nd and 93rd Infantry Divisions all on Fort Huachuca. They were in billets right across from my quarters at Brown Parade Field. So First Lieutenant John R. Fox was in World War II. He was killed on the 26th of December, 1945 in Italy as he called in artillery on his own location because he was getting ready to get overrun by German forces. So we named the First Lieutenant John R. Fox range in his honor. We unveiled that range last year on the 28th of July, which is National Buffalo Soldier Day. We had his daughter, his granddaughter, and his grandson here for that ceremony. So what's the range all about? So we were approved by the Chief of Staff of the Army in December of 2020 to build the Army's first MDO range here on Fort Huachuca. So at Fort Huachuca, since we're in a bowl surrounded by the Chiricahua, the Whetstone, and the Huachuca Mountains, we can do a lot of things in that electromagnetic spectrum that I talked about earlier, as well as in our airspace. So on Fort Huachuca, from ground up to 30,000 foot for 1,500 square miles, I own the airspace, either delegated or restricted to Libby Army Airfield. So that means we can train in that airspace all day long, and all we have to do is tell people what we're doing. We control that airspace. So on the John R. Fox range, we can train in the electromagnetic spectrum. We can train signals intelligence soldiers. We can train electronic warfare soldiers. We can train cyber soldiers. And we train in space as well. We connect up to satellites in space and do things in space. So we have opened our range now. We've already had 2 units that came out earlier this year. In February, we had the Multi-Domain Effects Battalion from the 1st Multi-Domain Task Force from Joint Base Lewis McChord, which is up in Washington State. They brought about 200 soldiers down to Fort Huachuca to train for 2 weeks. They were able to operate the longest high-frequency radio shot that they've ever done in their history, over 1,600 miles here at the John R. Fox Range. They had units up at Joint Base Lewis McChord. They had units in South Dakota, and they had a unit at Fort Gordon, Georgia, all supporting their operations here at Fort Huachuca. We also had the Ranger Military Intelligence Battalion here back in March, and they conducted a cyber electronic warfare exercise, as well as brought in the 2nd Platoon of mortar section from 2nd Ranger Battalion. So we fired mortars on Fort Huachuca for the first time since 1981, last month. And they conducted operations as well in the John R. Fox Range. We were able to push 100 watts of energy from the ground on our range complex. Everywhere else in the continental United States, you can push 0.05 watts. We pushed 100 watts. We had Compass Call, an aerial asset from the Air Force, flying over and supporting from about 17,000 foot to the range. They pushed 4,000 watts of energy to jam a enemy emitter that we had replicated on our range complex. 2 weeks ago, we had what we call Vanguard 23. It's an experimental exercise. We had 47 both live and virtual threat emitters replicating a People's Liberation Army from the Chinese Army brigade out on our range complex. And we were then collecting on those enemy emitters with our program of record systems that we have in the Army, as well as prototype equipment that we're looking to build and field for our soldiers in the Army. So we're excited about the John R. Fox range. It's got so much potential, and we are open for business for across the Army and for DOD, for soldiers to come train here at Fort Huachuca.
Major General Hale, we thank you for coming and talking to us today. That was very informative. Thank you so much.
Well, Grady, thanks to you and Carol for this, and I'm sorry it took so long to get here. It seems like every time Sheriff Danos would invite me over, there was something already on the calendar, so I'm glad we could make it work out.
Hopefully it doesn't take another 2.5 years to get you to come back. And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
So we have Steve Boyce from Horse and Around Rescue.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and Steve Boyce. Thank you so much for being here from Horse and Around Rescue.
Thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it very much. I'm here for many hats today. One of them is Celebrating Animals. Celebrating Animals is at Veterans Park. It's growing and expanding. It's from 9 to 3 tomorrow. It's free. It's open to the public. You're welcome to bring your dogs and walk your dog around if they behave. And we've got all kinds of stuff. There's snake guys. There's club guys. Yeah, I don't like snakes either, Carol. And it's been it started out small and it's gotten really big. I'm not going to have my team of horses there this year, but sorry, Grady, you only get to drive.
Yeah, I got to drive last year. That was so fun. Thank you for that.
Oh, cool. It was fun. And I think the biggest thing is that it's all of the different people in Cochise County that have different things to support animals. There's search and rescue people are going to be there. Sheriff's Department's going to be there. I don't know. You coming, Grady, or are you going to the West End, aren't you?
I'll be all over the place.
I'll be all over the place. Cool.
I'm everywhere.
Yes, you are. And it's really it's a celebration of the animals. And that's the biggest thing for me is that you got all kinds of stuff. I mean, I don't like snakes either, but it's like a snake guy is happy. People are watching him and talking to him. And, there's alpacas there. There's dogs there. We have our mini horses there for kids to pet. There's just a lot going on. So it's a great, fun time.
And you get a lot of education out of it, too.
Absolutely. And that's part of what it is. It's about educating people about what we do, i.e., we, the Horse Rescue, do this. The people at the Sierra Vista Animal Shelter do that. The Sheriff's Department does this. So, I mean, it's all good for all of us, and it's good for the community.
Absolutely. And so after that, then you have a hugely popular tax sale coming up, May 6th.
Yes, we do. We just had a pickup full of stuff yesterday. Our Horse Rescue have people that lose horses, and they donate the stuff to us. So we have this little tough shed that is full clear to the roof again, and it's time to go through and sell that. And we have over 50 Western saddles. We have 17, I think it is, English saddles that are in there. We have halters, we have lead ropes, we have cinches, we have breast collars. We take our whole inside arena and fill it up with all that stuff. I mean, we got it all out. We won't let anybody in early. It goes from 8 to 12 on May 6th. It's a lot of fun too. We have people show up at the last minute donating stuff. It's like, well, what are we going to do with this stuff? And it's just a real crazy, crazy time. And it's a lot of using stuff again. It's a saddle that somebody had. The one lady gave us a saddle that she'd had for 30 years, which was an Olympic-level dressage saddle. And it's fitting at home. And she said, well, maybe you can sell it and get some money. I went and looked it up. That thing's a $5,000 saddle.
Wow.
It's like, whoa.
So when you did this last time, did you, completely deplete your inventory?
No.
Oh, okay.
We tried.
Yes.
We tried. We were cutting prices. We were doing lots of stuff, but it didn't. There's so much stuff, and the sheriff's volunteer outfit. Those come up. John Black comes with a couple of his guys, so they're around, and it's just a real good event, and have a lot of fun with it.
You also have an event coming up on May 20th.
May 20th. May 20th is an event at the Empire Ranch. It's called Gunman's Walk. It stars Van Heflin and Tab Hunter, and they're it's an old western that was filmed at the Empire Ranch. It's an outdoor movie, It starts about sundown or about 8 o'clock. We've got popcorn there and drinks there. Bring your own lawn chair, bring your blanket, bring it whatever. This is put on by the Loft Theater out of Tucson. They come down. They got a blow-up screen. It's a huge thing. And it's supported by the Empire Ranch Foundation, National Endowment for the Arts, and so on. And so it's a real community outreach type thing for people to see some of these old westerns that you don't get to see anymore. This thing was filmed in 1958.
Wow.
I was like 7 years old, Grady. That was pretty bad.
So you can be there for this event at the Empire Ranch in Sonoyta. And that's exactly where it was filmed. That's going to be an awesome opportunity.
You'll see a bunch of the old buildings. I went through and looked at the movie again just to remember it. And there's a bunch of old buildings. There's some of the whole story is that he's got 2 sons, and one son is always in trouble getting something. He's in the bars, he's drinking, he's following stuff. Well, the son that's always in trouble accidentally hurt a guy or killed a Native American, and the dad's trying to cover it up, and it gets into a real drama of the old Western type stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Don't do a spoiler alert. Don't tell us at the end.
No, I won't.
Okay.
Well, Steve, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you both very, very much for your support, and look forward to seeing you. Come visit. Come watch. Come sit down and have some popcorn.
There you go.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
So next we're going to have Heather and Ty Bays from the Salvation Army.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. And our next guests are in the studio from the Salvation Army. Good morning.
Good morning, Grady.
So introduce yourselves.
So I am Captain Heather Bays.
And Captain Ty Bays.
And you guys have an event coming up tomorrow.
Today.
Today it starts.
Yes,
Excellent.
Today and tomorrow. So so we are having a yard sale. And as I had said last week, that we are not opening the store. And after this yard sale, we will not be taking any more donations. We did do a couple yard sales last year. And we had some donations still left from that. And we've been collecting throughout this year. But this weekend will be our last yard sale.
And where is it going to be?
It's going to be at 180 Wilcox from 9 until 2.
And I also understand that your food bank is really low right now, so you guys are looking for donations for food.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. The times are tough right now, all around the community, all around,
everywhere.
The world. Yeah. So, and more people they're coming in to get, some assistance, and our food pantry is running out.
How can they donate?
They can donate at the Salvation Army. They can bring non-perishables right now. We do have a large freezer that we will be able to take some other things, and also cash donations.
All right. And what else do you have going on at the Salvation Army you want to talk about?
Well, what do you mean?
Do you have other programs you want to discuss?
We have our church services every Sunday. We have Bible study at 9 a.m. and service at 10, as well as we have multiple Bible studies throughout the week. We have a very amazing men's ministries and women's ministries, and all kinds of stuff. Our community meal is Monday through Friday, every day. Those days from 11:30 to 12:30.
All right. Well, invite everybody out to your yard sale today one more time.
All right. Please come join us at Salvation Army, 180 Wilcox, from 9 to 2. And if you're hungry, come get a hot dog, because we're selling hot dogs with our men's ministries.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for coming in and talking to us today. And up next, we've got Melanie, who is going to tell us about a grand opening. And first of all, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you're with.
Good morning. My name is Melanie Simpson. I am with Cochise Serving Veterans.
Okay, and you guys have something going on as well.
We do. So tomorrow during WestFest, we are opening up a very new Veterans Resource Outreach Community Center here in Sierra Vista. So we are located right next to Landmark.
Okay, and what will you be doing there?
So we'll be doing everything that we currently do now. Assisting veterans financially with house cleanings, whatever they would need for lifelong stability and to get them back on track.
Excellent. So go ahead and invite everybody to that one more time.
So we would love to have everyone come on out tomorrow between 1 and 6. We're offering free food, games, prizes, raffles, and all of that. So please come out and come see us.
All right. And Adam Curtis is also here from the city of Sierra Vista. He's the public information officer to now catch us up on everything we need to know about tomorrow's WestFest.
Yeah, so if folks remember the West End Fair, this is kind of the reimagined version of that event. We started it last year, about after the completion of our streetscape project along Fry Boulevard, so it's a good chance to check out the new West End and see what's going on out there. It is from 3 to 9 on Saturday. And from 3 to 7, we're going to have West End businesses. There's 22 of them. They'll be out on the street, 11 craft vendors, a few food trucks, and also children's activities, so like street magicians, face painting, chalk art, stuff like that. And then from, I think it was 6 to 9 p.m., there's a street dance with the Chad West Trio, and they'll take the stage in front of Landmark Plaza. Prior to that, there's a live DJ during the rest of the event. So the event, again, is from 3 to 9, but Fry Boulevard will actually be closed from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. between Garden Avenue and North Avenue. Part of the reason we had to do that is because we have fencing for alcohol, because Tombstone Brewery, which opened in the West End, is offering 4 beers on tap out on the street at Westfest. So we're very excited about that, so you can get a taste of that new brewery that just opened. And also check out the businesses in the area. A lot of them will also just kind of be open and hosting stuff in their parking lots and that kind of stuff. Definitely support those folks in the West End and kind of explore the area. That's kind of what it's all about. And again, it's this Saturday, 3 to 9 p.m., Westfest, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it usually goes just down Fry Boulevard. Is it taking a going down Garden as well this time?
It is not going down Garden. So Tombstone's coming down along Fry as well.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Everything is between North Garden and North Avenue on Fry Boulevard.
Okay, and that's going to be starting at what time tomorrow?
It is tomorrow, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. And again, the street is closed from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So avoid that area if you want to drive through that part of town.
Excellent. And did you bring anything else for us today?
Absolutely. So our Jurassic Wonders exhibit over at the Henry F. Hauser Museum opens on Saturday, May 6th. So it's not this Saturday, but next Saturday at 10 a.m. And that will be open for months after that, so you can stop by the museum pretty much any time during regular hours after that. But more than 500 fossils will be on display, all contributed by a local gentleman named Ron Hyde, who is an amateur paleontologist and has so many cool things to share. We actually featured him on our podcast, Let's Talk Sierra Vista. So if you just look up Let's Talk Sierra Vista on your podcast app of choice, you can find that and listen to the latest episode and meet Ron and hear why he's so passionate about fossils and hear more about what's going on with that exhibit. There's all kinds of fun stuff associated with that exhibit, including like a junior paleontology lab, a prehistoric passport program where you can actually fill out a passport by attending a bunch of different events going on this summer, and you can win a really cool prize potentially. You can get into a grand prize drawing if you do that. But find out about all of that on our website, sierravistaaz.gov, and you can find the details on sierravistaaz.gov /Jurassic-Wonders. That's /Jurassic-Wonders. And if you just search for that on the website, that'll get you there too. But there's tons of programs associated with it. We actually have a state dinosaur called the Sonorosaurus that was actually discovered kind of out in the Whetstone area.
Cool.
And there's a talk by the guy who actually discovered it. So many cool things going on, so you should definitely check all of that out. Head to the website for all the details.
So it'd be cool to watch your podcast and learn all that and then go to the exhibit.
Absolutely. So you have a week to study on the podcast and get ready. And it was a really fun conversation. Ron actually brought a bunch of his fossils into the studio, so I had an opportunity to kind of geek out and check all that stuff out.
Nice.
And get a preview of the exhibit. It is a lot of fun. You should also check out our social media, City of Sierra Vista. Just that is one of the pages, and then City of Sierra Vista Library Culture, something else. We have so many Facebook pages these days. But we posted a really cool video, just kind of a fun, silly video of our museum curator in a T-Rex suit, and I won't really spoil the rest of it. But you should check that out, and that's just another way to get hyped for the exhibit. And that T-Rex suit, a new one, not that particular one, will be part of the grand prize drawing.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Adam Curtis, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure.
That's Adam Curtis with the City of Sierra Vista. First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff.